Hello, welcome to another video, and today is quite a simple one. This is the first of a three-part series. We're going to look at some body weight circuits that you could do, and this first one is like for very much a beginner. So we've got Kim here showing us the first exercise you could do, which is basically just a squat, so nothing fancy about it, just working through slow range, full range, and with quite a controlled tempo. So basically, like the key to the squat, Kim's got a great technique on this. You basically want to try to keep that angle of the shins and the spine parallel to each other, and make sure that you don't get any rounding out of the pelvis at the bottom there. Alright, so that's the key to the squat. The reps you could do as many as 15 to 20 depending on how good you are. If you're really good, and you don't find them hard, instead of doing 100 of them, I would just hold them, and then you'll get like huge burning through the quads, which I've just highlighted there. So just hold that position at the bottom, like I've sort of shown here. All right, so that'd be the first one you could do, is your squats. Then after you've sort of done your first lot of that, you could move into your little circuit of the next thing. So doing it as a circuit is great, where you can sort of minimize the resting time. So again, this for a beginner, especially maybe for a female who's not used to doing lacking some upper body strength, a kneeling push-up would be a great addition after doing the squat. So your legs are a little bit burning, and you just move into the push-up. Again, it's about doing it well, instead of just trying to reach a number of trying to do 20 or 30. If you're good enough, you can definitely do it on the toes. So I think most males should be able to do at least 10 push-ups on their toes, if they don't have shoulder problem. All right, so a great little follow-up to the squat. All right, then after that you can move into what we call the prone cobra exercise. So this one's a great postural retraining movement, and you just got to be a bit mindful of probably Kim here gets a little bit too much extension, so it's good to get extension, but in her case I'd probably limit it. I'd probably tell her not to come so high, and I'd tell her to keep her feet on the ground. See how they wanted to lift up a bit? I tend to prefer to keep the feet flat. When this comes up and the legs come up, you just get too much compression into your lower back there. So where the real purpose of it is to try and get thoracic extension. So you don't want to have too much of this. If you get too much, just squeeze your butt together, all right, because that'll sort of restrict you from doing that. But this is a great one that counters the effect of the push-up. All right, so again, for a beginner, the skill level's very low. Not really a lot you can mess up with this. The other important part of this is to make sure that the hands supinate, so that the palms face away. All right, and usually this one we would have a hold of 10 seconds, as opposed to just knocking out reps like we do the others. You want to hold them for a 10-second tempo. All right, that's what makes this exercise effective. All right, and I usually probably keep it to about 6, so to give me roughly a minute of holding, and that sort of round about the same length of the set as what the other exercises with the squats and the push-ups would have taken, roughly a minute, depending on how many I did. So it's a great little follow-up, and it gets some strength into my upper back muscles. That is actually, with body weight, is very hard to do because you can't do pulling movements. All right, so then the next one we can do is we're going to do a bending exercise. So it's a lot different to the squat. This is in the gym is known as the deadlift. And the big difference of this, if you remembered before how I wanted her legs and her spine to be like this, well, on the deadlift we want her shin to be vertical, and we were trying to get this. So this is a very important one for people with back pain, learning how to use their hips correctly. So when you're picking up objects, it's a great way to build strength into the glutes as much as protecting the lower back. So very important exercise for a beginner, because this is really the art of bending over and picking things up. If you have something around the house like a paint tin or something that you could reach down to pick up, of some reasonable weight, that would be a great way to bring in some load. You don't need a dumbbell, or dumbbells and kettlebells are really good if you've got them, but if you don't have to go and spend heaps of money to get them. You can just use things around the house, something that's around about this high, and a paint tin's handy because it's got like a handle on it, all right, and it's obviously like something you would do in real life. So that'd be a great way that you can build into your circuit. Then the next one we're going to do an abdominal exercise, I believe. So yeah, so this is a simple one for the lower abdominals. and basically Kim's placing her hand under her back, and she's got to try and keep the pressure on her spine. So because her hand's under there, it means her back's not dead flat. She still has a natural curve, and she's just trying to maintain the control through her core as the weight of her legs would be. So as she gets to there, if she doesn't have control of the core, it's going to lift off. So if she's pushing out, she's going to lose all core control and her back's going to arch too much. Her job is to feel that she can keep some bracing feeling so that the spine just stays in its neutral curve. All right, so the weight of her legs pulling it, so the hips pulling their spine up. If the abs don't counter that, that's when you'll see excessive arching. So this is a deceptively hard exercise for many people when they first try it, but it's a great one for a beginner, and it sort of rounds out your workout. So you've got your squat, your push-up, your cobra, your bending exercise, and then your abdominal one. So very, very simple. And if we did those exercises all back to back, you'd probably be 5-6 minutes for a set, and you could easily whip through 3 sets in about 15 minutes. So the last one we'd probably follow up with, which is a bit of a bonus one, which is just the hip extension for the glutes. And you're just really working through building some strength into the glutes and hamstrings. Again, because it's quite simple, you could hold it for a period of time. You could even possibly do it with one leg, and Kim's demonstrating here. A single leg definitely is probably my preferred choice for most people. And again, you get to probably see if there's a weakness on one side that something you're favouring, which becomes a much bigger problem when you move to the lunges and the single leg squats that you would want to do in the next workout, where we show you part 2 with Nathan, where it's sort of like the intermediate person who sort of finds this stuff's too easy and is looking for the next challenge. All right, so this one's a nice one to preempt that. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed that video, and we'll see you on the next one in part 2.